Hi, it's Wednesday. It's 3 o'clock. Welcome to Together Unlocked, brought to you as always by Together 2012. We're a disability arts organisation creating the Paralympic cultural legacy in the main host borough of Newham. Are you okay at the other end of our wheeled virtual sofa? You seem to be wobbling around and moving your cameras.
Yeah, I just when it zoomed in, we lost half of Josh, and I thought,
Can't have that. We have to warn you in advance. Our broadcast providers, Be Live, have been having problems for the last 3 weeks. If these continue, we will be coming back with a different system in January. This is our last week on air, and we'll be back on Monday, the 11th of January. But in the meantime, some proper introductions and some audio description. I'm Ju Gosling, also known as Ju90. I'm an artist and artistic director of Together 2012. I'm a white woman with pale olive skin, green eyes, short, corona cropped, hennaed hair, but under a seasonal pound shop bright red pork pie hat. I've got black plastic glasses, black wrist braces, silver coloured jewellery, and in honour of the season, I have a white t shirt with two stylised cat's heads with green bows and green antlers. Behind us, we've got the Together graffiti banner with representations of different art forms we cover, everything from photography, filmmaking, visual art, live music, carnival art, street art, and much, much more. And we have, well, it's not a teddy this week, although we are taking part in the International Virtual Bear Hunt. We have a little green Santa stroke winter troll. So our Clockwork Paralympics are coming up for the last time before Christmas, just after 3:30. Julie, who are you? What do you look like?
Hello, I'm Julie Newman. I'm the chair of Together 2012, and today I look like a mugger. I'm wearing a black woolly hat with a silvery, sparkly, sort of lightningy thing on it. My delightful curls, gold and silver, are peeping out from underneath at the back. I'm wearing dark rimmed glasses. I have a black t shirt on. And in honor of 5 very brave cats who've been to the vets over the last week for their annual checkups, all very successful, I have to say, I'm wearing a cat constellation looking at a falling star, and I have on silver jewellery.
And if you see our camera wobble, it's because one of the cats has decided to join us. So over to the West Midlands.
well, good afternoon and welcome to Wednesday. So I am Robin Surgeonator. I am one of the standard co-hosts of Together Unlocked TV up here in Sutton Coldfield. Today I am looking increasingly pasty. Actually, I think all this winter weather, my nice tan is finally fading, having spent half the summer not having to go anywhere but the garden. So I have whitish grey hair. I am wearing no-rimmed black-armed glasses. I have blue eyes, although they're looking very distant at the moment. Beautifully cleanly shaven, actually, of no more than 10 minutes ago. I am wearing a black a black polo shirt with a logo for the Y Festival on the left-hand side, and the mic's just right in the way. But it is a W, an H, and a Y in red, yellow, and blue with a green question mark around it. And I'm wearing it because December was the first time Y Festival happened a couple of 3 years ago. So, you know,
That's the festival you run in the West Midlands, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's one of them, a little baby festival, nothing compared to the Together one.
Well, I don't know. Let's just pause. Tell us a little bit about it because we're looking forward to the future very much on this show, if not next year, 2022.
Okay, well, so the Y Festival. I mean, it's something that I kind of the idea came up in about 2012, 13, which then became, in some ways, the Dada touring thing that was taken up by Dada Fest after meetings with Ruth. But then I kind of reclaimed it. And the Y Festival it's a disability arts festival, which has been primarily music, spoken word, with a bit of art thrown in, visual art thrown in. Very much about trying to promote artists from the West Midlands. And I called it the Y Festival because it covers both why and why not. And I just, it worked for me, and it worked, and people kind of got that. So it was as ever, it was an Arts Council supported activity. And I'm hoping that it might be able to be kind of, it's become a standing thing. A lot of the work I do, I now use the banner of the Y Festival, so it kind of exists as a website and various bits and pieces. So it's kind of an ongoing festival rather than a closed period event. But hopefully this year there will be, COVID allowing, some more actual live stuff to happen.
And we have a highlights and links page. If you look at the main Together Unlocked TV page on our website, www.together2012.org.uk, then we'll put that link up so you can have a look at the Y Festival website for yourself. Josh.
Hi, I'm Josh Surgeonator. I'm also one of the hosts of Together Unlocked. And I'm a PhD student, and a slightly dishevelled looking PhD student at that.
Is there any other sort?
Probably not. But yeah, I'm currently kind of in the throes of writing chapters. So I'm kind of just coming up to Wii and do live streams, and that's about the only times I'm not at my desk, really. But in terms of my audio description, I have blonde-ish hair, a slightly overgrown ginger beard, and today I am wearing a black hoodie that has red writing that says Heat Basketball, and has a basketball on fire going through a white hoop, and I'm wearing black framed glasses as well, so that I can actually read the horrendously small print journals printed in like the 70s. So yeah.
Well, we all envy you, of course. No, I don't really. I remember it all too well, even though it was 20 years ago, partly because, of course, my student debt is still so large that I'm going to have it for the rest of my life. But that's about all I really want to. Well, I don't even really want to remember that. So we had the penultimate event of our festival last night with Gestalt Arts presenting Indus, The Sound of the Story. I'm pleased to say the recording of that is up on the website now. But Josh, I know you were really looking forward to it and you were teching for it. Why don't you give us your take on how it went and what happened for people who haven't seen it and are interested in watching the video?
I just thought it was really, really interesting.
Do you want to just say a bit about what it was?
Oh, yes. So it was a piece, the work that we actually showed was around kind of opera and Wales, and kind of inspired by Wales song, which was kind of really interesting to kind of see something that I wouldn't necessarily connect with opera, I guess, kind of used as a kind of foundational kind of building block to then create this the piece, or the kind of the extract of the piece that they showed. And then we're also kind of looking for feedback on how and where to take the piece into kind of the stage performance, or a digital, or a kind of kind of blend of the two. So it's really interesting to kind of hear about that creative process, see what they've come up with, and then also kind of be a fly on the wall almost in that kind of creative decisions and kind of conversations of where do they go from here. And it was just really, really interesting.
Yes, it was, well, like all of our live events, it was interactive. So yes, they'd come in this case, it was coming in with a set of questions about how well the audio description worked and what else they could try. And we're going to include some of those questions and further links on the event page later. I think the other thing that impressed me, but only when I thought about it, was the fact that we had a woman director in Ruth Mariner. We had a woman Foley artist in Ruth Sullivan. We had Chloe as Chloe as the creative audio describer. We had Bethan, who was the operatic mezzo soprano, and then we had the composer. It's extraordinary to have an all women's, to have such a big team and for it to be all women. And I didn't realize just how poor the gender balance was in music till a few years ago. I was invited to the University of East London to give a talk as a woman in music, and I said, I'm not a woman in music. I do a little bit of sound as part of my fine art practice. And she said, trust me, if you read the books, they're that desperate. You're a woman in music. So I thought, okay, so we've had a very careful policy since then with our own commissions of 50-50. And of course, there's been lots and lots publicised around the sort of failure to programme women artists at outdoor festivals. But I don't think the classical world is any better. I think this was just a really, really interesting, unique collection of just fascinating women, also passionate about what they do, passionate about their craft, and with some extraordinary, in terms of the Foley artist Ruth Sullivan was showing us this whole kind of jumble, almost like a knitting jumble of videotape, and showing us how she was able to use that to make leaves rustle.
I'm really looking forward to seeing it, because obviously I was backstage doing backstagey things. But can you just explain what a Foley artist is, please?
Yes, it's somebody who, if you look at the pictures of the old-fashioned radio broadcast, they're creating live sound. I did admit to having knocked out the soundtrack for Charlie and the Sea Monsters in an evening when it had taken us 2 months to do everything else, because you're just using recorded clips. But of course, there's nothing as convincing. And this was one of the things. It was like, how does Foley support opera in terms of not just visually impaired audiences, but sort of heightening the experience? And what was the other thing she had that she'd made herself, Josh? Did she call it a stone sausage or something? But it was a long piece of material knotted at both ends with pedals in it, and again moving it up and down.
Yeah, I think it might have been, was it sea sausage or something like that?
Yeah, just moving these stones up and down in the sausage made the sound of the waves stirring things up. And then she showed us the sort of classic coconut shells that you bang together, but pointed out that whereas Monty Python, they sit there banging them together, in fact they bang them on the ground. So yes, it's a very, very, I guess it's as old as film and radio. And certainly in the days when they did all the radio drama as live radio, because of course that's how it used to have to be. You'd have several Foley artists on the floor of the broadcasting studio, all making different sounds very, very quickly. It's very, very skilled.
And I'm just wondering whether there might be a kind of quite a rich history of women in the Foley sound production, background sound and stuff department. Because I remember from doing my sound qualifications, and sorry, I was just looking down to check the name, but back in the 50s and 60s there was something called the BBC Radiophonic Workshop, and that was headed up by a woman called Delia Derbyshire.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think there's always been women, but it doesn't mean they're getting the jobs and the commissions and the grants. And so that was, I think, what really struck me, that they'd got such a strong, relatively large creative team that was all female. And I think I only remark on it because I wouldn't have remarked on it. I wouldn't have thought that was unusual, but it is. So that was, I think it just made it more interesting. Again, you can see the trial pieces they've made. That's not really quite the right word for it, but they made a short live piece that would have become a longer piece, and instead they've gone back in the interim and made a short digital piece, and then they're looking at what do they do with the digital piece and what do they do with the live piece. I'd love to see more of both. It was, like I say, absolutely fascinating. But time to move on and look forward to the final event well, it's a sort of two linked events. Tomorrow we are launching the Together Poetry Anthology that we've been talking about for the last 6 months. It's called Together 20 Poems for 2020, and they're all on the theme of together. So we're going to be publishing that as a free ebook. You'll be able to click on the page on the festival website, download an EPUB file directly, or click through to Amazon if you've got a Kindle to download a free Kindle book. We've also got videos of some of the poets reading their poems, and we're going to put those on the anthology page on the website too. But in the meantime, we thought you would enjoy a sneak preview. So we're going to play some, starting with this one from Glory Sengo.
When I'm standing on the stage, then I'll tell them good evening, and I'll dance to a Congolese song. I'll be dancing, and everyone will say, "Ah, he's a Congolese dancer. He's a superstar." Everyone will come and dance, and I might say, "Oh, come and dance, everyone." Everyone will come down to the stage and sing and dance together. And I'll say to the microphone, "Oh, come and sing and dance, everyone. Oh, everyone, come and dance together."
Yes, well, better than leaving the mute off and having the videos distort. So that was Glory Sengo from Act Up Newham, and we're going to move straight on to Emily Bonner.
So this is my poem that I threw together late last night and finished off this morning when I should have been sleeping. So I am feeling a little bit tired, but we will rise together. Each and every one of us holding a virtual hand. This ain't no disaster, it's a cleansing of the land. Some may clap the NHS and others bang their lids. People standing in the streets, men, women, dogs and kids. As air pollution decreases, the Himalayas emerge, showing their strength and beauty, secrets on the verge. Clear waters now run in Venice, first time in an age. No more millions of tourists, a turning of the page. Nature is now healing from devastation caused by man. In a way it's payback time, it's all part of the plan. Sadly, lives will be lost from one thing or another. Hand gel can't save us all, and nor can the Holy Mother. So what will get us through? The power of the mind, living in the moment and always being kind. A collective of positivity connecting to the source. Being non-judgmental will keep you all on course. So breathe, motherfucker, just like Wim Hof says, and find a productive way to while away the days. Let's be creative and discover who we are. Everyone matters, those close and those afar. All rise together, guys, and be a shining light. This time is a blessing. My love to you, day and night.
And apologies for the bad language from Emily Bonner in that video. So now we have Ritesh Patel.
No space, British Patel. People together. No inner space. No space Ukraine. No space house. People together. Tired. We are together. I find happiness. Walking together. Pulling my friend. Happy together.
Now, I'm not sure how my sound's holding up, so fingers crossed, but this next one is Andy.
Together we are strong. Together we can make it. The sun is shining in the sky. Birds are singing in the sky. Children are playing and going to school. We made that happen together. We are best friends together forever.
Just too many buttons to press too quickly. Next, we have touchdowns. And can you take over after this? I can hear this popping up.
And how do thee? This is a poem called Together, and it's for Together 2012. It requires a little bit of audience participation. I'm going to ask you if you remember an advertisement which always ended with a man saying, "We want to be together." He said it in a Brummie accent. I'm a black country man myself, but I can do a little bit of Brummie. We want to be together. So see if you can say that in a Brummie accent. We want to be together. I'm confident that you can. So now I'm going to start my poem. It's called Together. In a Brummie accent, like in the advert, everybody say, "We want to be together. Together. We want to be together. Together we stand together. Stand together together. Sit to face each other. Facing one another. Talk about the weather. Like strangers becoming friends, friends becoming lovers. In a Brummie accent, everybody's got to say, we want to be together. Together we mingle together. Together we become like one another. Together we speak for one another. Speak for your comrades, brother. Like you alone can group together. You and me will work this thing together. When, in a Brummie accent, everybody says, we want to be together. Together. Like this, together, like that. Two words that go together. Together we get it together. Today's the same, tomorrow's a change. Come on, let's get it together. Come on, let's get our world together. All together in a Brummie accent say, we want to be together, and let's say it now, together. In our own time, but together, like it's a new rhyme forever. We'll speak these lines forever. It will be sounding fine together. We'll get along strong together. Everybody in a Brummie accent say, thank you, you've got it. Bye.
Okay, and then our final video poem for today is going to come from Stera Plurger, our regular contributor from ACT UP.
Waiting to go out by Stera. All of us are meeting on the computer. We are happy, waiting to go out. No, we are not together. No. Meeting. Not going out for dinner. No dancing.
No.
Not happy. Angry and sad.
So thank you for all of those wonderful poem videos. Now it's time for Nature Watch, our slow TV segment, and this is Merlot's Snowy Walk.
So here we see Merlot out in the Norfolk countryside. And it's just he's thinking, what is this strange stuff falling out of the sky? I don't see if I remember seeing this before. There's my owner. Here we go. Look, the green's changed colour to white, and it's cold. It's sticking to me. Oh, get those snow off. Doesn't probably wonder what they call it. Snow in dog language. Oh, that's it. Bit to the shelter of the green now. Let's go find somewhere a bit nice, bit fresher. Here we go. A good trot across the ground into the trees. Looks like there's a beehive there we're passing. Here we go in the trees where we can wiggle and waggle our way through and feel those lovely leaves crunching under our feet. Oh, no, we're getting a bit quicker, I think maybe he was getting cold out there. He's having oh, yes, get that snow off me. Come on. It's not fair. You humans can brush it off with your hands. I've got to shake it off. Here we go. There's my favourite style ahead of us. Up to the fence at the gate and the fence at the edge of our little forest. And look out in the field. This field's got all this strange white stuff in as well. Let's have what does it smell like? Don't lick it. Am I licking it now? See what this white stuff tastes like? Water. It's a bit weird. Yeah, I'm not liking it. Definitely not liking it. So here we go up the side of the field, and the farmer's been at work there. As we can see, the field looks well turned over. Let's have a look in this. What's in this grass? Oh, peeking over. Can I see something over there? What's that I can see in the distance? A big tree. I think I'm a bit familiar with this walk now, but it has changed rather a lot since last time I was out here. Let's continue our way up the hill. Oh no, stopping again. Tasting the snow. I think that is the end of our little journey for today. Okay, so we are back in the studio, and actually what we're going to do now is we are going to go straight into our join in on Wednesday film, and fingers crossed we get some audio back from Ju and Julie in a few minutes' time.
Together 2012 is running a Join In From Home programme from our website together2012.org.uk. Click on the link at the top of the page, Join In From Home, to go straight to the main page where you have a wide range of accessible, inclusive creative activities, mostly using things that you would already have at home. At the top of the page and throughout the pages, you will also see videos in British Sign Language to translate the site for deaf people. These videos can also be useful if you have difficulties reading and you simply want to hear more of the content. The Join In From Home programme is based on the activities that we would usually be running in East London. All of our activities can be enjoyed by families at home, but we also have some of our favourite activities here from our family activity days, which we usually hold in the school holidays. Card making with pens, stickers and paper is also popular. You can show someone you're thinking of them by making them a special card, and if it can't be delivered safely, then send a photograph with a personal message or keep it till later. Here we have instructions for making a sock puppet, a storage jar or night light, or a lunchbox or storage box, all of which are really popular with our family activity days, and you can click on each of these links to get full instructions. So with the sock puppet, for example, you have lots of instructions with photographs to show you exactly what to do. Same with the storage jar. and same with the lunchbox or storage box. And you can see how effective it is just to use very, very simple techniques. Everyone is completely unique. The Pop-Up Poetry Club meets on a Wednesday morning. We also run regular poetry projects and poetry cafes. We're inviting you to write or sign a poem on the theme of Together and send it to us to share on social media. We're also going to be publishing an anthology of the Together poems in November, and everybody who contributes will get a copy of the physical book.
Well, hello, and we are back. Do we have sound in London? I can't read that message, Josh, but I will. I know where we're going. So, brilliant. That was great. And hopefully you've got some ideas to do some craft over Christmas for us to show us all when we get back. So we're now going to move into our regular Wednesday spot, the Paralympics, which is where London currently dominates the competition. London 2012 dominating the Clockwork Toy race event.
And say, well, actually, I don't think the app's going to let me, but today's clockwork is Santa in his aeroplane versus the Easter Bunny. It would have been 2 clockwork Santas, but neither of them really wanted to walk more than 2 paces.
Okay, then. Well, we'd already made our mind up, so we'll just we'll have the 2 teddy bears. So we compete every week at a Clockwork Toy race. London are using their victorious green teddy, not Teddy Troll Christmassy thing, who won last week, and indeed we have this week one of our previous competitors who is back to challenge for the top spot. And he's just our good luck teddy. He is a grey teddy wearing a green sort of crop top t-shirty thing. And I should better describe the London competitor. I would have said it was a troll, or what we used to call a gonk, but it's very kind of green gnomish looking as well, with a rather long, wispy grey. I'm not quite sure where the beard finishes and hair begins, and a very big green pointy hat. So, without further ado, we will move to the race. Josh and I had already said, so we don't know which one is which, but we'd said today we would choose the competitor that is on the left of the screen as we look at it, released from Ju's right hand when she runs the film, and Josh will commentate.
So we have 2 competitors on a new race surface this week, which is lovely. So we have, I believe, the Easter Bunny is on the left-hand side of the screen. I believe that is a plane. I'm going to go that is Santa on a plane on the right. And we are just waiting for the race to commence. They are off, and Santa appears to be in a holding pattern above Heathrow. And the Easter Bunny appears to have started out well, taken a hard turn, and gone off screen, but I think went off screen further ahead than Santa. Santa's gone for a go around.
Excellent.
I believe.
Well, I think it's only fitting that the Birmingham 2012 team should remain victors for the longest period, because we will be wearing our medal. I'm just going to grab it.
You just can't see. There we go.
Oh, there it's a noisy medal. So this is a medal. This is the bronze medal from the European Wheelchair Basketball Championships. So we're going to award that. It was obviously a very fortuitous use of a good luck teddy. And yes, we now will be champions for 4 whole weeks. Okay.
The fact that he's so competitive that makes him a winner.
Absolutely. Now your sounds okay at the minute. If you want to come in for a bit, or will you? Okay. So for the time being, hopefully you'll have time. You'll be able to come back to Ju and Julie towards the end. I'm going to pass over to Josh for our regular sport and gaming magazine.
Thank you. I didn't realise there was a magazine.
Yeah.
I need to make myself look shinier. So we'll start with.
Yeah.
It worked. We'll start with gaming this week. So There is a game coming out tomorrow, I believe, which is Cyberpunk 2077, which is a kind of very kind of hotly anticipated game. I think would probably be the best description. It's been delayed a number of times, and I think it's one of those things that everyone's looking forward to. I just hope that it kind of lives up to the hype that people kind of are expecting. I think if it's anything less than a kind of groundbreaking game, I think it's almost going to be seen as a negative, which is strange because they haven't really said that it's anything other than just a game.
I was going to say, but what's it about? I mean, cyberpunk sounds interesting if you're a punk, but
yeah, it's a very bizarre. It's kind of in the future. There's the main character you play. You're seeing someone in your head, who I believe is kind of a hallucination almost. I think of a rock, a punk revolutionary terrorist or something. It's very kind of out there in story, and that character is played by Keanu Reeves. But I think the people that have made the game haven't said anything other than this is our game, really. It looks very pretty, but I think there's almost a level of expectation far beyond what's been advertised. It's one of those ones that is, there's kind of 20 years between the first game and this one. So I think they're going to struggle that if it isn't the best game ever made, that a lot of people are going to kind of unfairly criticize it for just being a good game. So it'll be interesting to kind of see what actually happens with that and how that develops. Kind of in much the same way that kind of long-awaited sequels can be great films, but it isn't this amazing things that the fans want, so it just kind of gets slated. And then the other thing in gaming is that this weekend is the Game Awards, which has categories for pretty much anything you could think of. So it has the kind of the big title categories that you'd imagine, at kind of film awards. You've got kind of Game of the Year, but then they have things like director, kind of game direction of the year, which is the actual, and game narrative of the year, which sounds similar, but they're kind of slightly different things. The actual game direction is the making of it and that type of things, whereas the narrative is purely the story. And then they have things like sound and music and score. There's categories for in-game sound. There's categories for each type of game, so kind of action game, driving game, things like that. There's innovations in accessibility is an award. So that is streaming on any different platform you can think of. Really, it's on kind of YouTube and Twitch and and all sorts of different places. And I believe it's 11:30 p.m. that it's on in the UK on Sunday. So it is a bit of a late one, but they're kind of running it from the US. So it's based on their time zones.
I was going to say, and I think that we've talked a lot about we're talking about gaming, but actually in gaming, the creation, the programming, the artwork, the narrative, the storytelling, the cameraing, the whatever is a huge endeavor of artists, and it's all artists.
Yeah, there's kind of
creatives. I'm not sure this mic is going to hold up very long. Well, it's not the mic actually. It's unfortunately beyond our control at the server. But it was so interesting in the film festival on Friday. We had a talk from the production union BEC2, and they were talking about the work they'd been doing in the gaming industry, and so did Equity. And effectively what they were saying is Equity deals with everybody in front of the screen, if you like, in the viewer's eye, and BEC2 deal with everybody else. But one of the initiatives that Equity was talking about, I was so fascinated by, because they were talking to horror movie makers. about employing people who've got different mobility, if you like. So this guy Dan Edge from Equity, who's a very, very enthusiastic activist and actor, and has mild cerebral palsy, and he, so they're literally talking to the horror movie make games and things about them playing zombies and then playing all sorts of characters, that you have all these bizarre characters in games, and they've seen that as a kind of really wonderful opportunity for some well-paid work for disabled actors. So I found that fascinating.
Yeah, and it's kind of, I guess it makes sense. I suppose you kind of don't have to get someone to learn how to walk funny. You can get someone that's good at it naturally.
Yeah, exactly.
I can get a change of career coming up here.
And we talked about it a little bit off there. We were kind of joking around about it, not in terms of gaming, but filmmaking. That we've got a friend through sport that's a double leg amputee, and lives in Northern Ireland, which is where they filmed a lot of Game of Thrones. And I can't remember how many episodes he's in, but he kind of got called in a few times to be an extra in kind of battle scenes. I think it might have been a couple of different kind of episodes and different shows as well, possibly. I'm not entirely sure. But to play someone that had kind of been, cut in half or attacked by a dragon or something like that, because they didn't have to then get somebody with green screen trousers on and have to do all a load of special effects to remove them all. They just kind of went, here's a bout of fake guts, go and lie in the corner. And it is similar sort of thing, that actually it's kind of maximizing what you've got. And I guess it's also a budget saving thing as well. It kind of makes the filmmakers or games makers' lives easier. Moving on though, to talk a little bit about sport. So there's a few different sports things that I wanted to talk about. So last week, honestly, the Paralympics have been postponed for a year, and there's a kind of big financial implication to that for athletes, but then also kind of the organizations and federations that run sport. So last week, the International Paralympic Committee announced a grant package of 1.8 million euros, which is 1.63 million pounds. It says that in the article. I'm not just really good at math conversions. To kind of help, kind of athletes and federations with some of that money. So they opened last week. So if you're an IPC member, you can kind of apply for support from that grant for things like development of parasport, education opportunities, kind of athlete licenses, and all those kind of behind the scenes things that people don't necessarily realize if they're not in that sports world, but kind of everything costs money. So it's great to see kind of those para athletes getting that little bit of kind of extra support. I know for a lot of kind of Olympic athletes, the more famous Olympic athletes, their sponsors kind of stepped in and said, we'll cover you. But actually, for those athletes that aren't those big household names, Olympian or Paralympian, the losing out on that opportunity to compete this year is huge. A lot of that sponsorship money is tied to performance. So if all of a sudden there's a year where you can't perform because there's nothing to perform at, it can be really difficult. And lots of athletes have kind of talked about that struggle. So it's great to see that kind of that financial support for para athletes being kind of pushed, and the fact that it's coming from the IPC, it's kind of top down from the head of Paralympic sport. It's not X company being like, we'll help out. It's so moving on, a little bit of Olympic news. So breakdancing is going to be at the 2024 Olympics. Go on, Jules.
Yeah, I understand quite rightly that squash players are just in despair that they've seen all these kind of pseudo sports coming in, where And they say that because they're about judging, and it's been, it's all very subjective. Ultimately, it's not like something like squash where you've got clear winners. So yeah, I mean, I'm funnily enough, for somebody of 58, I'm a massive fan of breakdancing. Do I think it's an Olympic sport? No, I don't.
Yeah, it's an interesting one, and having some friends that are squash players, I can attest to their frustration at not being included. It's interesting, kind of what you said around it being a judged sport, because you do have things like diving and gymnastics that are also kind of judged sports, but I think they're judged more strictly doesn't necessarily make sense, but
I
there's
think there's very clear
leeway
criteria.
kind of gymnastics and things like that, because there's kind of set skills that you have to perform to a specific kind of model. Whereas, yeah, kind of things, kind of skateboarding's in there. Right, it's called breaking, which is its original name from kind of the 70s, and the kind of hip hop artists that kind of pioneered it. So they're calling it breaking in the Olympics to kind of honor that. But yeah, it will be interesting to kind of see how that develops. But at the same time, kind of figure skating is an Olympic sport as well, which is a similar kind of things. That'll be interesting to kind of see.
Yeah, but I think you can look at wheelchair dance, for example, which is recognised by the International Paralympic Committee, but isn't in the Paralympics. And again, like diving, it's kind of very clear. If we were lucky enough to have tickets to the World Diving Championships at the Aquatic Centre, I think back in 2014. If somebody doesn't hit the water right, you can tell. If somebody doesn't do 3 somersaults, you can tell. But I think breaking is a lot more subjective. But yeah, I think it's just about queuing, isn't it? I mean, I'm not an elite sports person, but when they decided they'd take all the money away from ping pong, which is such a democratic, accessible sport that anybody can play, and took the money away from badminton, which I remember you can play in the garden, it doesn't seem to make a great deal of sense.
Yeah, I mean, we won't go into it too much, but I think at the elite level, it's a business as well as anything else. And then the final thing that I wanted to talk about today, and really importantly, today is Rainbow Laces Day, which is a Stonewall initiative that started. I don't know when actually. It's definitely been running for a while.
I have a set in my trainers.
Yeah, he does. Which is for those that don't know, it's a I can't think of the word. Initiative. There we go. That to get Rainbow Laces to kind of push LGBTQ rights and kind of awareness in sport. So there's a number of kind of Rainbow Lace athletes that are at kind of the top level, and they do this every year, and universities tend to push this quite. Ju's gone and found her pair of Rainbow Laces that she's got in a very sparkly pair of silver Converse-esque shoes, which look very fancy, and I'm slightly jealous of, and I might have to steal a pair because they look quite cool. But yeah, it's a great initiative. Again, I don't know how long it's been running for, but I know it's been around for a while, and has had quite good traction. You can see a lot of kind of top elite athletes kind of wearing the laces at competitions and things.
And I was going to say, I mean, kind of changing the subject ever so slightly. I mean, we're more the focus of kind of oppression anyway and discrimination is that last night there was a Champions League match between a Paris team and a team from Istanbul, whose name I'm not going to pronounce incorrectly. But just we've very much supported Black Lives Matter, and and anti-racism is a and inclusion are huge elements of who we are. And about 15-20 minutes into the match last night, an incident happened between a coach from the Paris coach, I think.
No, the Istanbul coach. Actually.
Okay, sorry, and the fourth official, and it's purported that the fourth official said something racist to the coach, who was a black coach, and I haven't seen it exactly, but basically both teams said that's it, we're not playing, walked off, cancelled the match. I mean, and if you can do that at a Champions League, if you've got, the I mean, I think that's such a powerful statement, and in such a mainstream setting where we all know, there was issues about racism at the weekend at Millwall. Yet, two of the biggest teams in Europe were able to kind of go, no, we're not having this. We're just not going to play. If our officials can behave like that, then we're done. And I think that was really powerful. So just sort of add that onto the kind of sporting things.
Yeah, and I just wanted to add, we've seen some very uneven behaviour from public figures this year, but sports people have really mostly done us proud.
Yeah, and then the final one that I wanted to talk about, and it links into the Rainbow Laces stuff, that yesterday an article came out to kind of coincide with Rainbow Laces Day, which was a kind of interview with two Paralympians, two Paralympic athletes, talking about kind of the effect that lockdown and things had on training and their kind of social lives, but that actually how both of them had kind of connected over social media, and have now been a couple for the last kind of 6 months, and talking about kind of representation of disability is really important to them, kind of both being, they're both Paralympians, so both being disabled women, kind of not seeing that representation growing up necessarily, but then also the kind of LGBTQ plus representation as well, and kind of how important it is to have that for younger people, to kind of make them feel confident and things like that. So it's a really interesting article. I mean, I've known they've been together for a while because I'm friends with one of them on Facebook. So that it was quite, it's always one of those weird things. It's quite nice to kind of see, it was out on Sky Sports. So it's not a kind of niche article. It's mainstream news promoting and celebrating two disabled athletes that are in a same-sex relationship, and just all the positives that brings to them. And I just thought it was really cool.
And I think that kind of, rounds off really nicely, that we are, as an organization, representing disabled artists and the work we produce. And I think we have to pay homage to the fact that actually we do inspire, but we inspire our younger disabled people, or indeed people who have acquired impairments. I mean, I think quite certainly in a lot of the work I've done and made, where we've made real differences at an individual level, is working with people who have acquired an impairment. So i.e. they weren't born with it, it's something's happened to them. They've become a disabled person, and they've had to change from being an able-bodied person who didn't know a disabled person, didn't care about disabled people, could have been horrible and mean to disabled people. They've suddenly got to readjust who they are, and then finding people like us and all the artists we're talking about and Paralympic athletes, and being able to go, hold on, these people are artists, these people are sports people, these people are musicians, and a huge one that Tracy and I certainly faced with, was your parents. Hold on, your parents, wow. And actually, we used to say that, when Josh was littler, and Emily
Taller
was
than you, thank you
and
very
Emily
much.
was really small, but we all had our chairs. We were like a family of ducklings going down the road. But it actually, what that said in it, I mean, we can, some people will laugh or say wrong things, but actually the message that sends out is huge. And I think we should kind of really embrace that that's what we do with Together. And to kind of begin to start to close up on today's show, just a reminder that tomorrow is the end of festival party. Yes, I said festival, honest. And I'm sure you can still book on the website if you wish to come to that. As ever, the end of festival party is an open mic event, poetry and spoken word, and everybody is welcome. Oh, we're not hearing you at all, I'm afraid, Ju. I'm not.
I imagine.
Remind people that it's also streamed on YouTube. So if you'd like to perform, you need a Zoom ticket. The booking link is on the website on the program page, www.together2012.org.uk, or you can just click on that program page and watch it on YouTube. The focus is very much going to be on the Together anthology, but we do have some open mic slots as well. And I'm delighted to say one of them has already been taken by Seeley Quest, who we met 2 or 3 years ago when we were in Montreal working on our Canadian project. So we have an international guest hopping along as well.
Brilliant. Okay, so that's something to look forward to. Remember, everything is still, all of the festival, subject to the odd quirk, is now up online for you to go and visit. I mean, we have our highlights pages, highlights and links page for the show anyway, but then the festival there's lots of links for you to go back and either view again or go and watch something you didn't get a chance to see the first time it was aired, or was live, in fact. So it's really, there's a huge resource out there. But most importantly,
as well.
Sorry?
And it's not just passive. There's lots of things that you can engage with in terms of different activities. So 2 minutes. I think we're going to talk about dressing up to go out.
Well, that's exactly where I was going. It is that time of year for the ugly jumper. I don't know what I'm going to do because I fastidiously don't have a Christmas jumper, whereas
we'll get one delivered.
He's going to wear, but believe you me, he has a wardrobe of Christmas jumpers.
I have 2, thank you. One of which I wore in July because I found it and I just thought, why not? The one I'm going to wear on Friday is both truly awesome and truly awful, and I'm very excited for it.
And I think, I mean,
I'm going to say, if you want to join in with us in our ugly Christmas jumpers, then pop one on, take a photo, and then email it in to info@together2012.org.uk, and we will share it on the show.
And because then in the spirit of, normally on a Friday we do dressing up to go out to stay in. This is exactly that. We have not been able to go to Christmas parties. We aren't going to be able to go to Christmas parties. So let's make Friday 3 till 4 your Christmas party. We will bring mince pies. We will bring Diet Coke. We will bring coffee. And hopefully we will bring good humor. So
before that, you could do the whole thing tomorrow night at the festival party, where I was comforting myself thinking, oh, it's not the same on Zoom. And I thought, you know what, Ju, it's better than 2 or 3 years ago when the kitchen ceiling fell in an hour beforehand and we had to cancel the whole thing and whiz the food round to the local homelessness unit. So actually, we believe that the party on Zoom will be at least better than one of these occasions, but we think it's going to be better than that.
And with every finger that you can crossed, we'll say goodbye for today. Hopefully we'll see lots of you tomorrow and then again on Friday. Bye.